Hi, I'm Alex, and welcome to Super Make Something. Today, we're making a better version of the classic TTRPG battle map using magnets and lasers. Let's get started. This episode is supported by MonportLaser. Use code ALEX10 to get 10% off of any laser cutter or laser cutter accessory at MonportLaser.com. I love tabletop role-playing games, or TTRPGs, but finding enough time for a classic Dungeons & Dragons campaign can be a real struggle. Enter the TTRPG One-Shot, which is a compact and fast-paced game designed to be wrapped up in a single session. Inspired by Nature Maze Tunnel Goons, I've been working on my own tabletop gaming series called Office Goons. In Office Goons, players dive into the everyday world and turn mundane tasks into epic adventures. Need to create up some lab equipment for shipping and storage? Office Goons. Having a pre-team building status planning update meeting at work? Office Goons. To keep these games snappy and perfect for squeezing in after work before bedtime, I've been tinkering with a gameplay mechanic called Stamina Points, where each character gets a limited number of moves to complete their quest before the game ends. Your actions determine how many stamina points are used, and you might even find some coffee, candy, or energy drinks to replenish some of those points along the way to completing your quest. This adds a whole new level of strategy and teamwork as you and your party plan your every move, which brings us to the battle map. Battle maps are a staple in many TTRPGs. They're grid-based maps where you track your character's location during gameplay. Traditionally, battle maps are drawn on graph paper, which is great because it's cheap and easy, but here's the thing. Using paper becomes a real headache if you need to move the map off the table for dinner time, especially if there are a lot of tokens on the board. To fix this, I set out on my own quest to make a better battle map using magnets and lasers. The idea behind the project is pretty simple. Take a battle map, engrave it on a piece of 3mm plywood, and use neodymium magnets to hold DIY player and quest tokens in place on the game board. In 2022, fellow TTRPG enthusiast JP Coover shared a video on his channel about how to make awesome D&D tokens using a home printer, a 1-inch hole punch, and flexible adhesive-backed magnet discs. Definitely check out his video linked in the description below if you haven't seen it. After some experimentation, I discovered that 12mm diameter neodymium magnets provide just enough holding force through 3mm plywood to keep these tokens in place without letting them snap towards each other. This creates a perfectly temporary magnet sandwich to let you pause your quest at the dining room table when it's time to eat. To help with this project, MonportLaser sent me their 60-watt CO2 laser cutter. Longtime viewers may remember that I previously teamed up with Monport to review their Lightburn-compatible K40 laser. While the statement, "this 60-watt machine is an upgrade to the K40, is technically correct, it's also a massive understatement. The machine's work area is a huge 16 by 24 inches, which is 4 times the size of the one found on the K40. It also has a honeycomb bed that lets scrap fall away from the laser without catching fire, an integrated air assist and exhaust fan, a pass-through slot to cut pieces out of big plywood sheets, a movable Z-axis, and an autofocus system to get a perfectly focused laser automatically in order to cut the tiniest of details. The machine's electronics are also professional grade, and the sides of the machine can be completely opened up to vacuum out any scraps. Most importantly, it has many safety features, including a fire-resistant viewing window, a big red e-stop, and a Hall effect sensor to make sure that the laser doesn't fire unless the lid is closed. Having a physical lockout and a button panel on the machine is a nice touch too. Like with the K40, Monport's quality control is excellent, and the machine was ready to go right out of the box. And oh boy, what a perfectly packaged big box it was. Unless the machine will live in your garage, moving it into your shop is definitely a two-person job. This is where my friend Kyle comes in. Kyle is a friend from work, and Kyle is huge. Kyle isn't included in the shipment, so be sure to grab yourself a friend and an appliance dolly, and carefully tag team the machine's move into your workshop. After about 30 minutes, we got it downstairs and connected the provided accessories with the included tools. After that, we turned on the laser, ran the autofocus routine, and executed the test program that was preloaded on the flash drive included with the machine, all without any issues. With the laser safely in my workshop, it was time to create the first Office Goons campaign. And what better way to kick off its everyday adventures than with an epic quest called the Laser's Labyrinth. In this thrilling campaign, our brave goons embark on a mission to navigate through a suburban house and transport their newest workshop tool to the basement. Along the way, they'll face all sorts of challenges, environmental obstacles, and ferocious encounters, including an excited puppy, slime mold, and dust bunnies. Will they be #goon enough to complete the adventure before their stamina runs out and they suffer from burnout? The only way to find out is to play. Oh, and quick heads up for the rest of the video, spoiler alert for the Laser's Labyrinth. obviously. Now, even though this map will eventually end up on a piece of wood, I still kick things off in the traditional way, with good old graph paper and a trusty pencil. First, I sketched out a rough floor plan that resembled my house. Next, I used a light table to trace the sketch onto a new sheet of paper with a set of microline pens and scanned it into my computer. From there, it was all about layout, specifically adding prompts for encounters and items that players would stumble upon during their quest, along with an outer border for the battle map. Once I was happy with everything, I exported the map and the outline as separate PNG images, after which it was time to cut out the battle map. One of the best things about Monport's lasers is that they're compatible with Lightburn out of the box. Lightburn is essentially the equivalent to a slicing program for 3D printers and is such an incredibly powerful tool that not only lets you control almost every aspect of your laser, but also allows you to do additional layout before you start doing any cutting. In Lightburn, I first imported the map and outline images on separate layers. After this, I used the trace image option on the outline image to trace the outer border of the battle map. In the cut/layers menu, I then set the mode to image for the map image so that it would be engraved on the plywood, and set the outline layer to line, which would cause the map to be cut out. Finally, I set the speed and power settings to those shown on screen, toggled the output switch of the outline layer to off to prevent it from being cut for now, and clicked the start button. This set my project to the laser cutter over USB, which flawlessly engraved the battle map. Once the map was engraved, I toggled the map image layer to off, toggled the outline layer to on, and lasered the map's outer border. I then repeated these steps for the prompt elements that I had created separately, arranging them so that they would fit onto a smaller single sheet of plywood, and had all the elements to assemble my D&D map. The final step was to attach magnets to the battle map and prompts, which I did with a bit of superglue. Making these magnetic allows the prompts to be flipped over once players reach certain parts of the map to not spoil any of the surprise encounters that they would run into along the way. After everything was assembled, I simply set up the board game on my table, printed out various Office Goons character sheets, and got ready to play with my friends. With a bit of plywood and some awesome laser action, I now had a beautiful, robust battle map that was ready for an epic adventure. I'm incredibly excited with how this project turned out. Having a more portable battle map makes it so much easier to pause and move the game, which makes it so much easier to play since you don't need to find a huge chunk of time in your schedule for some TTRPG action. A huge thank you to Monport for sending the laser to me for this video. In case you're interested in purchasing your own laser, you can get 10% off of any of their machines by using code ALEX10 at MonportLaser.com. This helps out the channel and helps me make more videos. Another way you can help this channel? Hit the like button and leave a comment below telling me what you thought about this video. Also, in case you want to learn more about Office Goons, you can find more information about the game by following the link in the video description. Well, that's all there is to this episode. Thanks for watching. Now go super make something.